Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising, how you doing? This is your coach Renz. And in about 5 minutes, we're gonna get the review going. If you find me for the first time, I'm a cigar lounge owner, cigar owner. So I'm gonna smoke a cigar. But welcome to the live. We are a Christian deconstruction channel where we deconstruct all things Christianity, but we also talk about other things from time to time as well. Today we are doing our review of the movie Stigmata. The movie Stigmata. We're going to break it down for any esoteric thought processes on it as well. So we're going to get about 5 minutes. The 5 minute mark, we're going to get started. Starting very late today. Had some extra errands to run. But we are on it. The 1999 film Stigmata is what we're talking about today. Grand Rising Reverse, how you doing, my guy? Before I get started and get some of these barbecue smoked chocolates, barbecue smoked gourmet chocolates, clean the palate before the cigar get going. This is the what are these? This one is the retro bean. I hope you guys enjoyed the live yesterday with the former pastor, Rich Shepherd. We had a great conversation. Next week, I'm gonna start changing it up a little bit. We're gonna do 2 shows in the evening and 3 in the morning. We'll see how that goes. Grand Rising Ethan, how you doing? We're gonna see how many people actually did their homework and watched the movie. It's on Tubi and what was the other thing it was on? Pluto TV. I know some people didn't watch it because they already expressed that they didn't watch it on the post that I made earlier. But we gonna see. I actually love this movie. It's one of those movies I've seen probably about 7 or 8 times. So it was kind of cool to watch it again. Grand Rising Debbie, Grand Rising Renee. How are we? You didn't, but you will. Hopefully, after we finish this review, you'll definitely go and watch it. Hopefully, you'll definitely go and watch it then. And if you watched our Gospel of Thomas series that we did, what was that? Maybe like 6, 7, 8 months ago. That is going to play into this movie. Debbie's seen it before. We're going to get the answers for the test first. That's what we're doing. Getting the answers for the test. That's all right. I don't mind. Get the answers for the test. Get the answer. Had to deal with one of the worst things in creation this morning. It's called Atlanta traffic. It was quite irritating. But you do what you got to do. Can't stand Atlanta traffic. Grand Rising Jeremy, how you doing? All right, Joe, you remember the movie? Yep, just started, Edward. Starting a lot starting late today. Had to run an errand. Supposed to have been ran. Supposed to have had to meet up at 10, but it wound up being pushed back to around 11. And it was about 50 minutes away from where I live. And I had to make another stop on the way back. So we're just getting started today. So getting ready to start with this review of the movie Stigmata. Stigmata. I enjoyed the movie. Angelina, she couldn't watch it with me. She don't like them kind of movies. So she was like, no, 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 no. Cover my eyes. Cover my eyes. I don't want to watch it. Cover my eyes. I can't watch it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, she couldn't watch it with me. Right. It is one of those movies that get better with age. It does get better with age. Please don't get Christian in your debate pleaser. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I don't even know what you mean by that. Do some people read they comment? Like, what do you mean by that? Please don't get Christian in your debate pleaser. Or please don't get Christian in your debate. I don't know what you're talking about. Stigmata was a good movie. Her not believing in Christ didn't make sense in the viewpoint of a person who doesn't know the Hermetic knowledge. We're going to cover some of that. I'm going to cover a good bit of Hermetics were in the movie. I do like most of the Gospel of Thomas, as it's not technically Gnostic, but it was still widely read by the Gnostics, and that played very heavily into the plot of the movie as well. It was like a secondary plot that creates the plot. So it was like the spark plug to the gasoline in the movie. Grand Rising Marguerite, Grand Rising Lambert, Teal, Jaloon, Angelina. You can make them faces all you want to, but you know you. Oh man, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. Oh look, they do the jump scares and all that kind of stuff. It's not my kind of movie. That's what we're going on. That's exactly how she sounds too. But so let's get started. So I guess first, in order to let's establish initially what they believe a stigmata is. So if a person is going through the stigmata, which they do clarify they do state it in the movie, which is a process to which a person who is deeply devout, normally it's a person who's deeply devout in Christianity, is so devout that they're troubled by demons and whatnot, that their own personal demons, that they go through the so-called bruisings of Christ, of Jesus, the bruisings of Jesus prior to his execution. So they go through, and there are 5 wounds. So they encounter all 5 wounds as they go through this process. Well, they encounter the wounds. According to legend and story, no one has ever had all 5 wounds, but they've experienced, 1, 2, 3, maybe up to 4 of those wounds. So the first wound, of course, is the nail through the wrist. And then it's the nail through the wrist, the nail through the feet, the nail through the wrist, nail through the feet, the crown of thorns, the whipping on the back, and then the spear through the side. So that's the stigmata. Now, according to church history, and when I say church in this instance, I'm mostly referring to the Catholic Church. I couldn't find where anybody of any other denomination has ever claimed that they went through a stigmata. It's always been Catholic. It's only been Catholic from what I could find. If you could find someone outside of Catholicism who supposedly went through this in reality, that'd be great, but I couldn't find anybody who did. The 2 main people that are claimed to have went through the stigmata is St. Francis of Assisi and Padre Pio, right? Stigmata doesn't feed the starving or cure the hungry, cure disease. It sure doesn't. Now, these two people, two of the most famous people who claim to have went through a stigmata, they suffered, 2 or 3 of the wounds. And it's only documented by Christians. It's not by Catholics. It's not documented by anybody else. And there's no other instance of this. And it's just documentation. In the same way that every pope, in order to become a pope, you have to have performed some miracle. And these miracles are only what that pope says they did, or a miracle they performed. So it's just, you're taking someone's word for it, which most of this book is about. It's taking somebody's word, taking somebody else's word, and another person's word, and another person's word. So that's what a stigmata is. Now, I love the way the movie opens up. The movie opened up with I want to call the act, not by the actor's name, but by the character's name. But there's one of the let me get to the cast so I can make sure I'm saying everybody's name. So Father Andrew, we just don't call him Father Andrew, but Father Andrew, who is played by Gabriel Byrne. And I like Gabriel Byrne because that's, if you remember him, you might remember him from Usual Suspect. But Father Andrew is a scientist who has decided that he wanted to become a priest. Now, the thing about him is that he wanted to become a priest, and later in the movie, he expresses how he became a priest to fill the hole. He understood that, in the way he explained it, the earth has been around for 6 billion years, and only for 3 million years, this is when they thought Lucy was a human, was Homo sapien, that man has been on the planet, but yet the Bible only goes back about 6,000 years. So he needed to fill the hole. So he turned to religion and became a priest. So he's a priest who's also a scientist. We've seen this in other movies like Da Vinci Code, where you got priests who are also scientists. And this is a real thing where the Catholic Church employs priests who are also scientists, and their job is to investigate so-called miracles and whatnot. When I was in Tampa, Florida, when I was living down there in St. Pete, there's this building, and the glass on the side of the building, it looks like the picture that they have drawn of the Virgin Mary. And I remember when I moved there and reading about it, and the Catholic Church, the Vatican has sent people to investigate it, and of course, they utilize that in the movie where they talk about in a different city this stained glass that looks like the Virgin Mary, and it's just a reflection and weathering on the stained glass that created that. So they find scientific reasons. So, but Father Andrew, he's having a problem because he wanted to fill the hole, but they send him out to investigate all these different so-called miracles or anomalies, and he consistently finds the scientific rationale as to why this thing is happening. That's down here where you. Oh, so have you ever? It might still be in St. Petersburg, Florida, and you'll see people flocking to it and praying in front of it and all these kind of things. The Bible goes back 6 million years. Read it again. Man, go on with that bullshit. Almost every biblical scholar looks at it and they go through the begatting and who begat and who died and who begat when they was this age and that age, and it goes back to about 4,634 is the time frame that the Adam character and the creation stuff. So go on somewhere with that. We're not even going to accept that. Even if you went with 1,000 years is like to God as a 1 day to man. Well, 1 day to God is like 1,000 years to man. That still would only give you 7,000 more years on top of that. So you still would only be looking at around 12,000 BCE. So that ain't what we're talking about. You going to St. Pete today when your kids got out of school? Yeah, I don't remember, dude. That was in 1997, 1999 when I lived down there. I can't tell you where it's at. I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it, right? So but this father, he's having that issue, and he's been sent, and he gets sent to investigate a stained glass, kind of like what you have in St. Pete. But he hears about a statue that's crying blood in another place in Brazil. So he goes. It was in 1996 outside of the Seminole Finance Corp. Yes, it was a finance. I do remember being a finance building. I don't know if it's still there, but good job, Angelina. Look at it. She got the address, the corner of US A9 and Drew Street. Go ahead now. I did see it. I remember I went over there to see it. I was like, I want to see this mess, right? Basically, to be a spiritual alchemist is the now moment exclusive period. Don't know what you mean by that, Lambert. But so in this movie, he was sent to go and he investigates on his own the statue that's bleeding. When he gets there, he's checking to see if the statue had ever been moved. I'm from Atlanta, or Marietta specifically. He checks to see if the statue's ever been moved. He takes a sample of the blood. This one father who's over the church, he had passed away. He's in his coffin. He takes some pictures. And one of the things I found interesting, every time he take a picture or take a sample, and people are like, oh, like you're desecrating the whole situation. Which is one of those demonstrating how people have so much faith in what may or may not be real. It's just they perceived it to be that, so they're like, oh, and people are being rolled up, and they're like, they got issues with their body, and so they're going there hoping that they get healed and whatnot. So they should demonstrate that. But while he's investigating, a little boy walks up to the casket, steals the rosary beads from the dead guy, who is Father, I think it's Alameda. Let me get the name right. Yeah, Alameda. Steals the rosary from Father Alameda, finds a woman, an American woman in the market, and sells her the rosary. Right? So she sells her the rosary, and she mails it to her daughter in Pennsylvania. Oh, when I can get my passport, I would love to go to South Africa, but right now I cannot go. I can't do it. Got to finish up some child support payments. But thank you for the invite. You missed when he went and stole. Yeah, the little kid goes and steals it, sells it to the mother. She mails it to her daughter. Father Andrew, he goes back to the Vatican. He tells them that, hey, it's just a stained glass, weather issue. And right off the bat, they let you know that the padre the priest who's in charge, Cardinal Daniel, is crooked as hell right off the bat. Because when he tells him that he investigated this statue, he was like, why did you do that? We didn't tell you to do that. And what did you find? And he started telling him that the blood is actually human blood. That statue hasn't been moved. And then he's mad at him because they didn't box up the statue and send it back to the Vatican so that additional scientists can look at the statue and review the statue, which is actually bad science for something of that nature. The moment you disturb something like that, you're not going to be able to explain everything away. You have to do your scientific studies right there on the premises in its current condition. So right off the bat, I remember seeing the movie like, yeah, he crooked. Because as soon as he want to get it and hide it and tuck it away, and that's one of the things that many of us accept and believe in, I find to be true, that the Catholic Church in the Vatican has many things and artifacts that they refuse to allow to be out. And this actually becomes an undercurrent within the movie of them wanting to hide things and keep things. when the yeah, when there's a part when the random guy's in the back of the church and he yells at him, "It's the devil." What more proof than you need? Exactly. I didn't catch that until I watched it again last night, and I heard the guy say that. Oh, that's cool. Organizing a Kemet conference. That'd be interesting. So they maybe lose the train of thought. So he brings it in. I mean, he's taken off the case. He really wants to go investigate it. And this is before he tells why he became a priest. So his insistency on going to look at it really is showing that he has become more and more dissatisfied with Catholicism, with the priesthood, because he came to it to find wholeness, but he has just constantly went out and disproved every miracle. So it's like for him, he wanted to really investigate this because he needs that proof, which is the one thing it seems like they don't want people to actually have, right? They don't want anybody to have any actual proof, because what they want is blind faith. That's another overtone of the movie, is that the Catholic Church in this instance is wanting people to have blind faith and their stability to be in the church and not in a supernatural event or what they would call God. I mean, if you had a statue that's bleeding human blood and you have no other explanation, it's just bleeding human blood, that's some shit right there. That is something that you could be like, okay, well, there's something going on, right? That may not necessarily be dependent on this God or that God, but it's happening in one of their churches. So it's like, okay, maybe it got something to do with this God, but at least it lends to the idea that possible miracles may have happened in the past if a miracle like that is happening today. Not these miracles that people are like, oh, it was a miracle that I didn't die in a car wreck. Cause and effect. All the time. Or even if the cause and effect is some deity, you have like straight up what we would call supernatural proof, right? But now that blind faith been around longer than Catholicism. People have blind faith in all the ancient religions as well, you know. But so we look at this. They got this system where they want to hide everything because they want the church to be the foundation of a person's faith, not the actual deity. And that's going to play out later on in the movie as well. So the rosary beads goes to this girl named Paige, and she's a hairdresser, and she's like, you know, a party girl, and she's an atheist as well. So she gets the rosary bead from her mom, and she starts hearing voices, and the voices are speaking like in a low Aramaic tone, and she's hearing the voices, and then all of a sudden while she's in the tub, which I gotta say, cinematography wise, that scene in the tub where they showed her body in the tub and then with the water and the reflection, you know, that perfect reflection was like as above, so below. It was like a demonstration of, you know, the two dimensions that were mirroring each other. I thought the cinematography on that scene was freaking amazing. I was like, I watched this sorry ass movie after that one, but it had some good cinematography and it kept me watching. You got some good cinematography, I'm gonna watch the movie. But that scene, the cinematography on that one, displaying the hermetic concept of as above, so below with the reflection of her body in the water, I thought was great. That's a great scene, right? So if nothing, pay attention to that scene for that concept of as above, so below, how they snuck that in, right? So, and she refused to receive the first stigmata, which is through the wrist, right? And of course, they think that the doctors they think that she tried to kill herself, and Nia Long is her best friend, and she's trying to help her out. She's not understanding what's going on, especially with her being an atheist. This would all be confusing, super confusing to her, because it's not something that she regularly would automatically think about. So it hits the news that she received the stigmata, that she had that happened to her. But then she's on a train and she happened to meet this priest. And when she meet this other priest, she walks up to him. She was like, "Are you Father Andrew?" And I forgot his last name. Father Andrew. I don't see the whole name of the character on here real quick, so it's all right. But it's like, "Are you Father Andrew?" Whatever his name is. And he's like, "No." He tells her what his name is. And then she starts having the stigmata of the whips on her back. Now, they didn't do it like, if you ever seen a cat of nine tails with them metal sharp little grapplings on them. Now, it would have been ripping meat out of her back. But, for the movie's sake, because the movie got a movie, it just has regular whip marks like a bull whip type whip marks. So she starts receiving this on the train. She's spread out, like that. And the father who sees it then, now he reports it to the Catholic Church, plus a bunch of other people see it, and it gets reported in the news. So now the Catholic Church the Vatican wants to investigate this situation. So they go, and Andrew Kiernan, thank you. So they send Father Andrew to go investigate it. When he gets there and he meets her, it's like they immediately take there's like a little tension a little sexual tension between the two. But he starts asking her questions and finds out that she doesn't believe in God. She's an atheist. So he immediately is like, okay, well, this can't be a stigmata. He wants to shut it down immediately. And then he explains that how the stigmata works, and that there are the people who experience the stigmata are those who are deeply devoted in religion, in Christianity. So he automatically wants to just shut it down because it's like it's impossible for her to receive it. Never really made any other investigation at that point, and he's ready to walk away from it. But as he's ready to walk away from the entire situation, she starts going through. Well, he likes her, and he's telling her a little bit about it. They in the church. And they're in a church because he's still a little bit curious. And one thing I did like at that point is that she had shown him that she had written down some Aramaic words. And when he sent it back to his friend, he said that the words mean lift a stone and I am there. Turn over a rock and I am there. Now he's unfamiliar with this at this point, because they showed that one of his friends at the Vatican was a linguist. And the linguist explained that when they get text in, they divide it up. And that linguist only got every third page, so that no one person can make decisions or have a thought process on what this text is or what it is about. That way, only the higher ups can decide. So there's a lot of political power and control that's being displayed in this movie by showing how even the priests in the Vatican don't get an opportunity to be free with the information, that they divide them up so that they all remain to a certain level of powerlessness as well. So the politics that we see in the church for as long as it's been around, and government, is also displayed in that one. And when he sends it and asks the linguist about it, the linguist is like, that's an ancient Aramaic, where you get this from? And so that continues his curiosity just for a little bit. Continues his curiosity to the point where he's even having a conversation with her in a church. And I thought that this part was good. She was like, "Oh, I can't have a stigmata because it happened in my wrist, but Jesus got nailed in his hand." And he was explaining to her that when the Romans did crucifixions, they didn't nail people in the hand, that they nailed them in the wrist because the hand could never support the body. All right, so they would do it in the wrist. And I've had that argument with people so many times, especially coming up, when I was like, "Nah, those pictures are wrong." And so she was like, "So all the pictures are wrong? Haven't seen stigmata, is it scary?" I don't think it's scary. I don't think it's scary. Grand Rising Diana, Grand Rising Texas. Wait. It got some jump scares in it, but I don't think so. Just watch it in the daylight. So he was explaining that all these churches and everybody's been teaching that wrong, because they have the wrong perception of it because of what an artist drew. And that should lead people to understand how many of the conceptions that people have about heaven, hell, angels, demons, all God itself, Jesus, these are artist perceptions, artist renditions. They don't know, even when they know what's right, they still will do it and take artistic license in whatever they do. So like cute little fat babies, which are that they say are cherubims, are actually how the Greeks drew the little baby angel for Cupid, you know, and that was only at a certain time frame. Before that, Cupid was a grown ass man, right? Yeah, you gotta watch it in daylight. So he is honest about that. The movie is honest about the fact that artistic license has been taken, and people just do it and they just go with it. But he explains to her that no, you can get it in your wrist. So he spends some more time with her because she starts having these episodes. And he thinks maybe it's demon possessions, and she started having as she starts speaking in Aramaic language. She records what she says. He sends it back to the father, who's the linguist, and he's like, "Where did you hear that? That's ancient Aramaic. That's lift a stone and I am there. Split a piece of wood and I am there." And he was like, "How did you find out about that? How did you hear that?" And he starts getting a little sketchy. Right, a little itchy about it. I ain't gonna say sketchy. Gets a little itchy about it. Which also that guy, he demonstrates the fear that people have in this church, that they have for the church, that they're afraid of it. That was played. That guy name was Father. I'm trying to find his name too. Father Gianni, and he was a little, and because he even goes in one line and says that the cardinal will kill him because the girl, after she goes through the next stigmata, which is in the feet, the nail going through the feet, she starts writing on the wall in ancient Aramaic, and he sends it to this other padre, and this padre is like, his priest is like, "Hey, don't send me this stuff. This was shut down by the gospel committee and by the cardinal, and that cardinal will kill me if he finds it out." He tries to delete it off his computer, but he's not able to delete it. We're talking about this movie right now, most. So you have to hold it. I have to see that for later. We're gonna stay on subject until we get finished with this part. So then he takes pictures of it, and when he sends it, and then when the cardinal sees these pictures, he's like, "Oh hell no, we got to go and shut this down." So they show up and everything. They catch the cardinal just laying in the bed with the girl. I mean, the priest Andrew just laying in the bed with the lady, and he's trying to take over the investigation because he really wants to kill this girl. He doesn't like it, right? And he finds out later. The Cardinal Andrew finds out later that those inscriptions that she had written basically were the Gospel of Thomas. Is what we know as the Gospel of Thomas. He didn't know it as that at the time frame, but there was a committee, and this part is somewhat accurate, somewhat not accurate. It is accurate that three priests, linguist priests, supposedly when the Gospel of Thomas and the other writings that Nag Hammadi were found, that they took those. Now they say they came over near the Dead Sea Scrolls. It wasn't near the Dead Sea Scrolls. It was in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. That they snuck it out of the Vatican, and because they felt like this was a true gospel of Jesus, and the church shouldn't hide it. And there was good reason why the church wanted to hide that. When we on YouTube, you can find our breakdown of the Gospel of Thomas. I think it was like 7 or 8 videos, 13. No, it was about 13 videos, and one of them is missing. But I lost that video. So we got, you can go through. We went line for line, each saying for saying, and saying number 77 was like the primary saying that was on there. And when they tell the story of how Alameda was one of the excommunicated priests from it. And Alameda turns out to be the one who was in the grave, and that's whose rosary she had. And we're gonna do God. I mean, hold on. Let me do this the easy way. Gospel of Thomas 77. Let me see. Yeah, that's the one that I like. It has 3 different interpretations of it. It has Blatt's, Leighton, and Dorsey's interpretations. So the Gospel of Thomas 77 is one of those gospels, is one of those sayings that they attribute to Jesus that legitimately would make people realize they don't need the church itself. In every different viewpoint of the interpretation of it, taking away the church's power over people is certainly what 77 is saying. And since it's attributed to Jesus, and they're saying that it might be the closest gospel to the actual sayings of Jesus. And 77 says, and I'm going to read all 3 translations. Blatt's translated as, Jesus said, I am the light that is above them all. I am the all. The all came forth from me, and the all attained, and the all attained to me. Cleave a piece of wood, I am there. Raise up a stone, and you will find me. Leighton just said, he translated as, Jesus said, it is I who am the light that presides over all. It is I who am the entirety. It is from me that all entirety has come, and to me that the entirety goes. Split a piece of wood, I am there. Lift a stone, and you will find me there. And Dorsey translated as, Jesus says, I am the light which is on them all. I am the all, and the all has gone out from me, and the all has come back to me. Cleave a piece of wood, I am there. Lift the stone, and thou shalt find me there. So each one of them does translate it. The biggest difference is entirety and the all term, utilizing the term of the all. But each one of them have a pantheistic type of teaching, in the sense that the universe, the creation of the universe is an expression of the all in every aspect of it. The entire universe, it is God, for lack of a better term. Y'all know I like to use the term the all, preferably. And that everything is the all, but everything is not the all. So it has the divine paradox that we went over when we talked about the Kabbalion and the law of mentalism, that the all is in all, but all are not the all. So the pantheistic viewpoint, and when I first read about that, I was studying Giordano Bruno. Now it's not scary that much. It's not really scary. Not like Saw scary or nothing like that. So, and not even Exorcist scary. It's not even like Exorcist scary or anything. It has some Exorcist type things in it, but it's not Exorcist scary. So this pantheistic thought process that all is in the all, and Jesus is the all. In this instance, it's saying Jesus is the all things came from Jesus, and all thing is of Jesus, and all thing has an aspect of Jesus in it. It coincides with other writings in the Gnostics, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Eve, the secret writings of Peter, even in your Mark and Matthew, where he talks about the kingdom of God is at hand. The kingdom of God is spread all over the earth, but you can't see it because you're blinded by these pastors, these priests. So it works in that same process of saying that everything that you see is the all, right? Energy and balance. Good. Thank you for putting it up there, J.A. So everything you see is of that. So it's expressing that Jesus is saying that he is that, and that all emanates from him. But of course, we know that in other parts of the Gospel of Thomas, as well as in the John, Jesus is saying that the unity that he has with the Father is the same unity that he has with the apostles, and so with his disciples. So they are They are all one. So it's not elevating Jesus at a higher state as far as being greater than anybody else, but the all is in everything, right? It's just describing, right? You can look at it as describing energy. And then he goes on and he's saying that when you split a piece of wood, I am there. When you lift a stone, I am there, which has multiple thought processes if you think about it. That even in the most inanimate objects that we may not think of has a consciousness, but the all energy, the connection, when you open your third eye, you see all things are connected, even within a piece of wood, even within a stone. But here is where I go a little more with it. And I don't know if I went this far with it when we talked about this one, when we actually talked about this. Splitting a piece of wood is an action. Lifting a stone is an action. It is the lifting of a stone and the splitting of the wood, which are two of the most basic working tools on the planet for man. But in order for you to see the all, understand the all, be connected with the all, there is a work that has to go forward, has to be put in by you in order to see it. The piece of wood sitting there without splitting it, the action of splitting it, putting in the work, you won't see it. Without actually lifting the stone, you won't see it. You have to labor for it, right? You have to do something. Put some action behind it. The only way to be whole is to become everything and nothing, because everything and nothing are on the same pole. So the all, so I understand what you're saying, Lambert. So you have to actually do something. You can't sit here and wait for everything to come to you. But it also has an understanding of the church is built, especially anciently, the church is built with wood and stone, right? But if you split it or lift it, then you can see the all, that in the structure of the building, the standing still of the building, the standing still of the stone, the standing still of the wood that creates the building, that is not where you're going to find Jesus. And that's one of the things that the church was afraid of. And even in reality, the church was afraid of the gospel of Thomas because of that, because of those types of teaching, that in a building is not where you're going to find deity. So in the people in the building, in the structure, in the rules and regulations and the process and the aristocracy, you're not going to find divinity in any of those things. Just like when he said that the kingdom of God is inside of you and you are the kingdom of God, in other writings in the Gospel of Thomas, it's expressing that same mentality, that you are part of it, part of the all, part of the universe, connected to all things, but you got to do the work to get there, right? So that verse, that was expressed in the movie probably about 6 or 7 times, where they quoted the latter half of this verse in Thomas, which is the thing that Father Andrew was missing, right? That's what he was missing the whole time. He was missing that understanding, but was looking for Jesus in this instance inside of the church, inside of the confines of the Catholic Church, the rules, the authority of the Catholic Church. And even in one point, the cardinal says that the church is the authority, which not the Bible, not a bleeding statue, not a person who has stigmata, not a writing, but the church has the authority. The church, is where is the rock, the bedrock of a person's belief. So I like how the movie expressed that in her writings. And then, of course, the girl, she covers it all up and all this sort of thing. And when the cardinal and his henchman, which I like, the guy who plays his little henchman, I like that guy in so many other movies. But he, when they come in, they are prepping the girl to do an exorcist. They want to exorcise this demon out of him. And while they're doing that, this is when Andrew realizes that, oh shit, this is Alameda who's inside of her. And so he goes and tries to rescue her. Now, I have seen many different movies and shows where when they do an exorcist and the demon is not coming out, because when Alameda is in there and he speaks to the cardinal, who's like, you can't stop us. You're sitting on you're evil. You're going against God. You are the devil. And, he's yelling at him while the nuns are holding him down, and he's sprinkling holy water and holding his cross to her and trying to call the demon out. But it's not a demon. It's the former priest, Alameda. And in so many movies where they show, or television show when they show exorcism, and then I remember going to research it after I saw it in Da Vinci Code, where the priest process of getting rid of the demon was to choke the shit out the person, was to choke him to death. Right. And in it, Kernan did explain that it's inside of the kingdom, it's inside of us, not in the building. But when he was choking her, that was, especially during the Inquisitions and during the witch hunts and all of those things, where Catholic priests were doing all of these exorcisms, a popular style, a thing that was recorded, is that they would choke them, right? And they would say that right before she died, I saw her light go up to heaven. So where do they get mentalities like that? They get that from Romans. I can't remember exactly where in Romans right now. It might be 3 or it's Romans 9. I believe it might be. It's either in Romans 3. No, it's in Romans 13, I believe, where it's talking about if a person is committing immoral sexual sins, that it is better to deliver their body to Satan so that their soul can be saved by God, can be saved by heaven, which is one of those teachings that is indicating that everybody goes to heaven. But it's saying that you should destroy the body so that the soul can be saved by heaven. So the choking of a person who is supposedly possessed by demons is destroying the body so that the soul can go up to heaven. And that's what they would claim, especially in the 14th, 15th, 16th centuries, that's what they were doing. Actually, earlier than the 14th, like 12th, 13th century, that when they was doing these things, they see the soul leave and go to heaven while they destroyed the body. So the Cardinal Heckman, I think his name, he was choking the hell out of a girl when Andrew comes in and saves her, right? But when he saves her from the Cardinal, and he's telling the Cardinal, I'm going to bring you down, you lying, I know what you did, and all this sort of thing to Alameda and the other 2 priests. Then Father Andrew petitions for Alameda to leave the girl, save the girl, and come and let him be the messenger. And he was like, but you're so full of doubt that my message wouldn't be in you, which was kind of stupid because the girl didn't have any belief at all. So at least the priest had some belief. So I was like, okay, but you went inside her. And maybe that's just the magic of the rosary. And that's the only person that he had an opportunity to have contact with, for his spirit to move. But I was like, okay, the girl was an atheist, so why? Yeah, I was like, so the movie can happen. That's why. So the movie can happen. So the girl, so he says he walks through the fire, but it's the whole Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys in the furnace, because the whole room is aflame, and he walks through the fire because his faith is now restored, or he's gained faith, I should say. And he's gained the faith, and then Alameda leaves, and the girl is saved, and so on and so forth. And then they go out into a garden. They're sitting there. She feeds a pigeon, feeds a dove, and the dove is supposed to represent, according to Catholic Christianity, doves take souls to heaven, or the representation of the Holy Spirit taking, this is a representation of the Holy Spirit in most Protestants. But it's also in Catholicism, it's the Holy Spirit taking souls up to heaven. That's why you see so many of the statues where they have doves on these saints' shoulders or in their lap or somewhere near them, or doves are always on the bottom of their statues and things of that nature. And so it goes where they start actually telling that the Gospel of Thomas was found at Nag Hammadi. At the end of the movie, and tell you a little bit about it and how it takes away from the church. I really loved that movie in 1999 because I had been at that point studying the Gospel of Thomas for about 7 years by this point, that I had been reading and studying it on and on. So of course it appealed to me in that one. As soon as they said the first line of, split a piece of wood and I am there, lift the rock and I am there, I was like, oh, Gospel of Thomas. So I automatically was liking the movie right then. But the movie is one of the things I found interesting, that I went and I looked at a bunch of Christian reviews of this movie. And one of the things that was consistent, well, there's a few things that was consistent. There was, artistic license and all this kind of stuff. But one of the things that was very consistent is that Christians were validating the stigmata, the saying that it was a blessing, that if you received the stigmata, it was a blessing from God, that you were so faithful. It was a demonstration of how faithful a person was, that God would bless you with this painful stigmata, which follows a mindset in this book where people think that torment, right? They believe in righteous torment. Let me put it that way: righteous torment. That if God can bless you through pain and suffering. We have that same mentality when you see Protestant churches saying that God is sending you through a season. You're struggling financially, you're struggling with your relationship, you're struggling with your health, because God is sending you through a season and is preparing you for something. That this righteous suffering is a good thing. A stigmata, I don't give a damn how good righteous you think you are, that's not a good thing. And they were trying so hard to justify it in the same way that so many other horrific things in this book and religion are justified. And even with the church trying to justify maintaining its power, whether it's over the entirety of the people or even just a few, a segment of the people, like in the Gospel of Thomas, it before it goes south in the last saying, but in other sayings, it's equating men and women as equals. When they want to get rid of Mary Magdalene, he was like, what, did the gospel just come through you men alone? That it comes through the women as well, right? So it has equality, things like that in it. It tells you things like the priests, the Pharisees and Sadducees are like dogs sitting at the trough. They don't eat, nor do they allow for the cattle to eat. And the food in the trough is the knowledge, so that you can know the kingdom of God. And it talks about how people have a veil over their eyes and they can never see what's going on. And the priest's job is, and the priest and the Sadducees and Pharisees, they keep that veil over the people's eyes. The movie demonstrated that in how they, even though the Nag Hammadi library was found, I think in 1947, but it was at least about 20 plus years, maybe, about 20 to 30 years before it was ever, it got out of the Vatican. And in one line, when Father Andrew is at the Vatican, he says, nothing ever, he goes up to a locked door and he's like, nothing ever gets out of here. And when he messed with the lock, that Swiss guard looks over like, you about to get some. You'll be playing around with stuff you ain't supposed to mess with. Right. They didn't explain why Alameda was possessing people. No, they did. Remember when she was first writing the Gospel of Thomas on the wall, and he was like, "Who are you?" And that sort of thing. And he was like, the messenger is not important. He was expressing that the message is what's important. The messenger is not important. Getting the information out is the reason why he was possessing old girl, because at the very end, he goes back to Brazil, finds a piece of wood, he splits the piece of wood, some being metaphoric. There's a piece of wood covering, he splits that, and under that wood, he finds Alameda's notes. He finds the scroll, and he finds his translation of the scrolls in that little notebook. and he just so happens to turn to saying 77. But they got to do that so the movie can happen. So the whole point of him possessing the girl, Paige, was in order for the Gospel of Thomas to get out to the people, the very thing that ousted him from the church. So that was his reason for possessing her. Oh, and I did like the cinematography of the water going up. If you pay attention, like the water, oftentimes when she's possessed, there's water drops that go up. They reverse, you know. So they were trying to show that there was a supernatural spirit in I mean, I'm gonna stop saying supernatural. There was an interdimensional spirit in there, right? The veil clouds, yeah. But that is the idea that's one of the things that's expressed in the Gospel of Thomas quite often is how the veil, Christianity, they will tell you the veil has been lifted because they have the Gospels and they have the New Testament. But Thomas is saying, no, the veil is still very much on the people because those who have taken over the spirituality have put the veil over people's eyes so that people can't see what's going on or what the real information is or how you truly access your connection to the all, to the universe. Because if they did, then they would hold no power because there would be no need of them. So why didn't Alameda share the scrolls and translations while he was alive? I'm not being a smartass. So the movie can happen. Literally, that's the only reason. I mean, you could say he would have been afraid of the church, but he had already left the church, was excommunicated, started his own church. Because if you remember, when later on, when they bring up the church in Sao Paulo with the tears, the Cardinal Heckman is like, we don't have a church in this town. So they're basically explaining Alameda started this church on his own. He was independent of the Catholic Church, but still following the Catholic ways. But he wrote it, he had it. And then one of the things to understand about a stigmata, in order for a person to be granted, and this is something they were showing in the movie, for a person to be granted sainthood, a miracle concerning that person has to happen after they die, right? So like Padre Pio wasn't considered Padre Pio wasn't considered a saint until after he died, and he received like three or four of the stigmatas, so then he became the patron saint of pain, suffering, and healing. But usually you become saints after you die, and there usually have to be a miracle. So the miracle was his possessions and the getting out of the book. That could be a in-movie universe explanation as to why, so that he can attain sainthood. But it's also like, you got to think about this. Copernicus never published any of his findings concerning the Earth being a sphere and the Earth revolving around the sun and all those sort of things until after he died. His findings weren't published after he died. Who else? And who came after Galileo, though? He expressed his opinions while he was alive that validated Copernicus. And they put his ass in jail, threatened his daughter, did all kind of stuff to Galileo, right? The matter of fact, the Catholic Church just apologized for what they did to Galileo maybe, 10, 15 years ago, right? When you study the pantheism, Spinoza, his Spinoza writings, his book Ethics, and most of his other writings, because he was Catholic, he didn't express the way he grew up Catholic and all that. And because of the Catholic rule at the time frame, his writings were never published until after most of his writings weren't published until after he died. So people have, in the movie demonstrated, they have a very healthy fear of what the Catholic Church will do to you. In my opinion, when the priests were told he could not be used because he has doubts, an atheist would be better subject because even if she is not a believer, she would be more open to the message than the priest with a closed mind. You know what? That's a good thought process there, Jay. Jesus said the Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge and hidden them. They themselves have not entered, nor have they allowed to enter those who wish to. You, however, be as wise as serpent and as innocent as doves. That's saying 39 from the Gospel of Thomas. There's another one. Yeah, that's another one that's like that, where it expresses that same thought. And think about it. The serpent is often villainized in Christianity, where you got Jesus saying, be as wise as serpents, because serpents actually represents wisdom and new birth, and as innocent as doves, pure. Now the Vatican today is open-minded about aliens. Yeah, they have to be. The Vatican consistently, like every other religion, changes with culture. Oh yeah, we're entering the age of Aquarius of the great year. Uh, I think we're still in the transition period between Pisces and Aquarius. I think the transition period is like 150 years or something like that. Going through the transition, meaning that we're already in the age of Aquarius, but the Piscean age, the dogma, the mentality, the religions, and all that stuff of the Piscean age will have take about 150 years for it to be, swept away, and to fully be in an age of Aquarius where the general mindset has moved into the age of Aquarius. But yeah, I think the great year is an interesting thing. If you haven't researched what the great year is, it's something that is very interesting to research. But I did like the movie. If you watched it and you liked it, let me know if you watched it and you liked it. And if I missed something so far, let me know what you think I missed. The preacher's hard work wasn't discovered until his death. Right. Yeah. They didn't find the work until after he had died. Okay. Catholic Church got agents in it, just like any government has agents. The Vatican, in itself, being a country of itself, they have those different types of agencies within them. And their whole job is just like the three-letter organizations that we have are designed to protect America. Their organizations are designed to protect Catholicism, to protect the faith, Christianity. Kings of European countries, when they took their oath of office, and I think they still might do it in Parliament, part of their oath is for them to say a defender of the faith. Yeah. That's one reason why I could never be a Knights Templar, because to become a Knights Templar, you have to pledge to defend Christianity. That would disqualify me like a champ. Let me see what Most said earlier. We've been an hour, so I don't mind going off subject after an hour. If it's, because unless you guys got something else that you found that you noticed in the movie that I didn't say, let me know. You said something yesterday. Yesterday you said something that stuck with me. You said anyone who tried to alter the Bible failed. I didn't say that. No, I said people altered the Bible. I didn't say they failed. I said they altered it. I don't think you realize that you are saying the same thing as me. You just assume that since they failed, the Bible is a lost cause, or that their failure in some way was driven by guidance from the scriptures. You are absolutely right to think what you're thinking, but but include this. Nobody has tried not to alter the Bible. No, you misheard me. Or if I did say that, I misspoke. No, the Bible has been altered several, several times. So if I said that, I misspoke. But I know that the book has been altered. You can look at older transcripts and see that it's been altered. Plus, even in what they have, the story was connected. Like there's the idea of the QLM was used to finish off the gospel because of the four gospels because of all the missing pieces and parts. This movie came out a few months before the End of Days, where Gabriel Burns was the devil, which is interesting. So he was a priest and then he was the devil a few months later. That had to be interesting. Because if it came out a few months, that means he was shooting those movies. There was the overlap of shooting those movies. And so one week he's a priest and the next week he's the devil. That's funny. I like it. I loved it. They also have a lot of hidden research and treasures. People shouldn't find it scary. No, I don't think you should find it scary. And if you pay attention to what they're talking about, some of those things are worth going to study. It is worth to go and study the Gospel of Thomas. Even if you don't believe in Christianity, which I don't, the Gospel of Thomas is one of those writings that I agree with many of his sayings, right? And a lot of it has, even though they put it with the Gnostics, to me, a lot of it is more Hermetic and alchemical than it is Gnostic. No. Because truly, it's not considered a Gnostic book. One, it doesn't have the demiurge. I don't believe it has the demiurge in it. We never talked about it. I don't think we talked about it having a demiurge in it. But I can't recall any of it having anything about the demiurge, which is very important to be Gnostic, is to have that concept of the demiurge. And I can't stand the last verse of the Gospel of Thomas. The last verse, I'm like, how you just went off the rails with that one. You just went into the whole women are lower than men. Women are a lower created being to man. And I could never get down with any spiritual book a book that claims to be spiritual, but yet makes one group less than the other in any other group. Either we're all conscious beings just existing in this gross matter form right now, or we're not. But this group is better than that group. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. And that last one is basically Jesus saying that he's going to make Mary like you males, which is a teaching from the beginning of this religion, where it was believed that women, since a woman was created from man, that she was lesser. She was a weaker vessel. I know in today's world, we think about that as far as just strength, but it's actually saying that Adam was perfect when he was by himself because he had both male and female, androgynous. This is a Gnostic teaching. This is definitely a Gnostic teaching, that he was androgynous or hermaphrodite. But then the female was taken out of him, so he just was male, but the female was the lesser versions of him. So in order for a woman to enter the kingdom of God, she has to be made into a male, right? And it's more of a spiritual kind of mentality, but made into a male. This is why all your angels are dudes. Like you never see in the Old Testament, New Testament, you never see a female angel. Female angels are something that's more of a modern creation than something that people in ancient times actually believed in. Ancient Judaic and Hebrew religion. Ancient Hebrew, Israelite or Jewish or Christian or Muslim, they don't have female angels. Like I told you about that one imam that told me that if a woman participates as a jihadist, she goes to heaven, she gets converted to a man and still gets 72 virgins. I was like, what? Which is also why they pay those people to do that. So really a part of them is doing it for the money. Contradictory to the whole thing from a universal perspective. Yeah, the Bible is contradictory as hell. And the whole idea of one group less than the other group is contradictory. Either we're all equal, either we all have an equal opportunity or we're not. And you can't be a religion claiming to be love and you subjugate people. Yeah, it's all folklore, that's for sure. That is a definitely folklore. Wasn't Archangel? You know, I haven't seen Constantine, so I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those movies that people have told me I need to watch it. But I haven't taken the time to actually watch Constantine. I should watch it though. But I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, that's why if you look at most of the human-like angels that the illustrations of them, they do have more of an androgynous look to them, not overly masculine. And like I said, there are no women one. Yeah. Every now and then we do a movie review. We throw one in there. You know, I think we're going to see Trolls this weekend. So probably won't. Although I did do a esoteric breakdown of the last Troll movie when it came out some years ago. So okay, you're gonna make me watch Constantine. I heard that's why some of the people, it was actually guys in the lounge who was telling me that, you know, the ones that I can have these type of conversation with, they was like, man, you should check out Constantine. Isn't that got Keanu Reeves in it? But yeah, I did an esoteric breakdown of the movie Troll, the last one that came out. I think it's Rock the World or Rock Ages or some shit like that. I don't forget what it was called. But y'all should go check that out. It's on YouTube. I think I did it because of my popcorn shop. It was for my popcorn shop. How come the devil is always a white guy in movies? Is that symbolic? Not really. The devil is always, here's the thing. The devil is always white for political reasons. If you make all the angels and all the God people white, and then the devil is always black, you're gonna create a political issue. So the safe thing to do, yep, Trolls World Tour, thank you. The safe thing to do is to make the devil white as well. They're just, the movies, they try not to offend, is what they're trying to do in that one. But as far as it being anything symbolic, now if I was a Nation of Islam, I would probably say it's symbolic. They just telling the truth on themselves. But it's really just a political thing, a caution thing to do. It's just like we was watching, like political correctness is always somewhere within a movie. We was watching Secret to My Success. And when they showed the guy's executive crew, they had one black guy. Had one black guy, had one woman, right? So one black guy, one woman. It's political correctness. Now, the woman was also there to have the whole love intrigue, but the black guy had one line in the whole movie. He had one line. Hey, have you seen whatever the guy's name was, Winston? Have you seen him? Oh, no, I haven't seen him, but I haven't seen him, but he's somewhere around here. That's all he said. He had that one goddamn line. Hour and 45-minute movie. But they had the one black executive for political correctness. So, and especially that movie was made in, I think, like 80 something, which when quota laws and stuff was a big deal. So, I don't think there's any symbolic thing to that one. It's just try to be politically be correct, not insult people. If they receive 72 versions, they would remain virgin because they would be they would be spirit beings, and virginity is their nature. So there won't be any intimacy with them. Once told this to a Muslim guy, and he just stared at me. Well, from my understanding of the Muslims, they had their 72 virgins and they still have sex in heaven, just like the Mormons still have sex in heaven. It is more of a Christian thought process that there's no sex in heaven. I'm gonna tell you right now, if there ain't no sex in heaven, it ain't heaven. And not at all. Gonna be an orgy in heaven. No, I just The Forbidden Kingdom is another good esoteric movie. Okay, I just put that on the list as well. Haven't seen it. In Bruce Almighty, God is Black. Is that political? Political, and the fact that Morgan Freeman kind of fits the old gentleman, with the voice and all that kind of stuff. And let me say that some of the choices for the devil is because of the actors that they have in mind. Like Pacino playing the devil in The Devil's Advocate. I don't think that had anything to do with him being black or white, being white. I think that was more just the best actor for that role. So let me say, I will say that the best actor for a role also is a thing. But having God being Black, that was Morgan Freeman would have been one of the best actors for that role in that movie, because he can do the comedy and the seriousness, and he has the voice and everything. The same way you got to think about it. It's only been in more recent movies over the last like 15, 20 years that they've had Black presidents. And this was before Obama. Now, sometimes I think they also get people ready for shit when it comes to like movies like that with the president. Let's get y'all used to seeing a Black president before we actually have a Black president, because we got this Obama. We're going to have, the powers that be are like, okay, we're going to have to give them one sooner or later. So let's get them ready for it by putting Morgan Freeman and what's the dude everybody hate because of Color Purple? Danny Glover. Let's start giving y'all some of them. That's why you've seen a lot of these movies have women presidents, right? And they all been white. I don't think they had a Black woman or a Spanish woman as president, but they have them. They've been showing a lot of women as presidents in television shows and movies. Those things, I think, is also they're getting you ready for it. I'm a fan of mine. Yeah, Pacino made that movie for me. He made that movie. But yeah, but there could be some political correctness to having a Black God, having God as being Black, just because of people, you can't keep showing God as white in every movie. You got to throw some Black people in there. The first Black president you can remember was The Fifth Element, Tiny Lester. What's he doing? And he was president of the world. He was the president of the whole world. One world government in that movie. You think about that? It was one world government. Who was the first Black president in a movie? Nope. The first movie portrayal of a Black American president was probably Sammy Davis Jr. in 1933 film Rufus Jones for President. Hold on, this is interesting. Hold on. James Earl Jones in 1972 played a black president. Herman Wallace in a movie called The Man in 1972 as well. In a skit for Richard Pryor show, he played the president. That's a skit. I just want a movie. In 1983 science fiction movie, Born in Flames, they had a black president. Nope, I just want movies. But in 97, Tiny Lester. Deep Impact was Morgan Freeman. Chris Tucker. Played the president. Chris Rock and Head of State. Get some slapping going. Yeah. Louis Gossett Jr. played two black presidents in some low budget ass movies. Yeah, they throwing it out there. Danny Glover was after Obama, so I'll correct myself on that one. And Jamie Foxx was after Obama. Was it the Richard Pryor show when he went into they found King Tut's tomb, found a tomb in Egypt, and it was all black, and then they locked him in the tomb? In 1933, that had to be a big thing in 1933 to do that one. The second Bedazzled had a female Satan. Bedazzled. That sounds like a movie I've seen. Is that? I think it's, if that's what I think it is, I actually like that movie. The movie Bedazzled. No. I don't want you to play the damn movie. Oh, I actually like that movie. With Brandon Fraser. Right. She was a little she-devil. Especially the part when he wanted to be an athlete. It's like, I want to be an athlete. The thing is go out and give 110%, it's about the team and all that. And she want to see his ping. And then he got a little bitty ping. It was like everything he wished for. She was jacking that joke up. But that was good. Yeah, it did say Terry Crews, President Idiocracy. Oh, the movie Downsizing. I love that movie. I actually just rewatched it maybe like a month or two ago. Bedazzled was great. But I think Downsize is a great movie. It's a great treatise on like how we're destroying ourselves. Yeah, we might have to throw that one in there. Because we are. We need to do something better. Actually, this little Russian movie I watched last night, it had a similar concept it had a concept of the fact that we're killing ourselves as well. Yeah, Adam Sandler, he baby Little Nicky. Here's a mindfuck for you. Obama's campaign was similar to Chris Rock's. Yeah, he's gonna make me have to watch that movie. To see the campaign part. Because I do remember saying, God bless America and no one else. God bless everybody. I can't think of what the campaign, how he did his campaign though. I know he was trying to, it was like basically a man of the people kind of situation, I think. Oh, Click with Adam Sandler. Are you saying that somebody was the devil in that? Because the guy who gave him the remote, he wasn't portraying himself as a devil. But that was, I do like that movie Click. It's one of those movies that reminds you to stop working so damn much and take and be a part of life. Otherwise, you miss out on life. You miss out on your family, your kids, and everybody. All right. God bless America and no place in it. The movie Click. Because the guy who gave him the remote wasn't playing. Yeah, Christopher Walken, which that's one of my guys. I like Christopher Walken. Oh shit, I went too far. He makes an eccentric inventor, Christopher Walken, who gives him a universal mode that controls time. Oh, so he was just playing an eccentric inventor. But I always thought it was something that he was playing more of a spiritual character as well, though. When I first saw that movie, I was like, I need one of them remotes. I was like, ooh, my kids were little too. I've been hitting that mute button. Oh, the roof is on fire. Oh my God, the roof is on fire. See, y'all getting all into quoting movies and stuff now. But yeah. I like how they put these esoteric themes in movies, and definitely when it comes to like what we talk about on this channel, if I had to study any book any books or book that had any kind of Christian writings that had better Christian writings in them, the Gospel of Thomas is one of my all-time favorites. It's right there, but it's and it's after the Tao and the Kabbalion, but it's in there, So definitely go back and watch those videos of that. Of the Gospel of Thomas, because it was a good read. It is a good read, and it's a good study, and it has a lot of the sayings are good philosophical sayings of understanding Hermeticism, alchemy. The Gnostics were leaning into that, especially considering the Gnostics originate. Well, I ain't gonna say originate. They were more prominent in Kemet, so a lot of the Hermetic teachings were part of their teachings. And of course, after 381, they killed a whole bunch of them. Oh, Christopher Walken said that he was the angel of death in that movie. Okay, I haven't seen that movie in a while, so now I'm gonna have to go. Now I got to watch it again. I don't know. See, here's my trick. I don't know if Angelina's seen it, and I gotta hit her. Lately I've been hitting her up with some of those movies that she ain't seen. I had her watching The Army of Darkness the other night. Read the Unitaria book. Okay, what did that about? Got plans for you, girly girl. Got plans for you, girly. But yeah, she watched Army of Darkness, and she was side-eyeing me the whole time. The Unitarian book. I, nope, I said that completely wrong. It's not Unitarian. Why am I saying Unitarian? Urantia. 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 The Urantia book, first published in 1955, is a spiritual book that presents the origins, history, and destiny of humanity. The teachings traverse concepts of the universe, life, and teachings of Jesus from a Christian perspective and personal growth. Why you want me to read this book? Let me do some research before I read it. Where do we go after we die? According to the Urantia book, the book teachers offer a bold new spiritual vision of life after death in a loving, orderly, intelligent universe. Upon death, your souls are safely delivered to the mansions, words, where we begin our new life. Jesus warns followers against forming creeds and traditions such as those that have built up all around the earth. So is it like an esoteric version of Jesus? Like a more hermetic version of him? I'll take a gander at it. Not like I ain't got a whole bunch of other books I'm supposed to be reading, but I'll take a look. Not the bombastic side eye. Oh yeah, she was giving me the side eye damn near the whole time. Because I was telling her, I said, it's so stupid, it's good. Like, that's what makes it a cult classic. It's so stupid and so ridiculous that it's good. Give me some sugar, baby. And then she got with seeing that movie, some of the things I say to her, she know where it comes from now. You know, because I walk up to her like, give me some sugar, baby. So now she know where I got it from. What is the most spiritual movie you've seen? Well, in my head, as the most spiritual movie I've seen, and even though it's based on Christianity loosely, would be What Dreams May Come. That's the first movie that pops in my head. What Dreams May Come with, and that's a movie we definitely will do a esoteric breakdown on. I'm just going What Dreams May Come, because that thing right there, in a more, it's like the Kabbalion understanding of mentalism and threaded in how that's threaded in the Bible as well, with the fact that you create your heaven is of your own creation, right? And but even your hell, because his wife, you know, she committed suicide and didn't think she deserved heaven, so she was trapped in a limbo like state, and that they were soulmates, and so their heavens, their consciousness, their love, the love they had for each other, was bleeding over into both realms. So that one was that, and probably Sixth Sense. But I'm gonna give What Dreams May Come an edge over Sixth Sense. But probably What Dreams May Come, because of the power of mentalism, the power of the mind, and manifesting whatever it is after you leave this consciousness. Has something to do with Galactic Federation of Light. Okay, I'm gonna read it now. The Green Pastures. I did those 4 videos on the. I couldn't even comment on those videos. That the Green Pasture had me laughing my ass off. That was just hilarious. I was giving her the side eye on that one. The Truman Show is a excellent treatise on how you can create a person's perception of the world and what life is and what is not for a person's reality when you isolate and control all their information. It was a very, deep dive movie. I think the Geographic The Final Pill of Mankind's book by Nicola Levashov. I'm messing that up. Okay. The GF. What was the GF? Was that the book that you said? No, that's a different book. What's the GF? Movie that I guarantee you will enjoy. A movie called Aniara. It has subtitles. It's deep, though, and it could be useful breakdown. I'll check it out. I don't mind subtitles. Yeah, Sixth Sense is very underrated. It's the idea that these spirits, that people's consciousness doesn't want to leave, can't leave, think that they're still here, got something to still do. I did spoil the movie like 10 minutes in when I was like, Bruce Willis is a ghost. What was the other one? The Others, where they didn't want it, they still was there and they were the ghosts and thought that they were being hunted by ghosts, but the humans were being hunted, but the people in the gross matter were being hunted by ghosts. And that was good. Mm-hmm. Oh, Galactic Federation. That's good. Okay, gotcha. That's what you mean. That's the GF. They Live. Now, if Angelina, if I have her watch that movie, she gonna side eye me the whole time in that movie too. But it's Roddy Piper. They Live is actually very good. If you're looking at the movie for the deeper things that they're saying, it's a very good movie of how the elites and the aliens are in league to control people. Yeah, that They Live is actually a good. It's one of them cult classics too. Yeah, What Dreams May Come. That's my when they asked me what was my favorite spiritual movie, What Dreams May Come is the first one that comes to mind. The Book of Eli, yeah, really tells you how no matter how many guns and how many men that old boy had, the true power to control people was to utilize that book, and that it can be used for control. Mm-hmm. Keith David was good. Because Keith David, that's the black guy in the movie, right? And that's the one they get in that damn fight scene between, if that's who that is. Keith David. Keith David. Yeah. I've never known that's his name. I'm today years old when I found out what that dude's name is. Yeah, that fight scene between him and Piper. He'll fight forever. But it's a good movie. They Live is a good movie. See, the only problem with a religious person watching the Book of Eli is the fact that it ends on the glorious thing that he had it, he had memorized it, and now they have the Bible, and it's the good people who got it. And when the bad guy finally got his hands on it, it was written in Braille. So what it symbolizes is that he didn't have the Holy Spirit, and so he couldn't read it. So that's the symbology of him finally getting it, but not being able to read it because he couldn't read Braille. So the Holy Spirit doesn't allow you to read it and understand. You can't understand it. Christian wouldn't be able to get the concept of the thing is that depending upon whose hands the book is in, it can be used for good or evil. It's a tool. Yeah, 30-minute fight scene. Yep. The episode Steel, Nightmare at 2,000 feet. Oh, I don't know that one. Oh, you're talking about Rod Sterling. Okay, gotcha. Aninari deals with the people not being able to take the sun, so they are on a journey for a new planet. Shows the things they have, to do in order to survive, the sex, the food, etc. Gets crazy in the movie. Oh, sci-fi, barking up my tree on that one. I love a good sci-fi movie, especially an apocalyptic version of it. A nuclear war happened in what movie? The Anari or one of the other ones? Book of Eli, I think, is a nuclear war had happened, right? But do they say why the world had ended, had became apocalyptic in Book of Eli? See, in the Book of Eli, which is like, you can see it as an allegory of karma. You do all this bad, jacked up stuff, and then you get what you've been desiring that you was willing to kill for, and then when you get it, you can't. It's no use for you. So you expense all these people and this time and this energy to gain something that's useless. Also, the Book of Eli had a nuclear war. Okay, but that's how I can see a thinking person would do it like that. But I'm guaranteed, if any Christian ever used that movie as a review, they're gonna say that, see, he didn't have the Holy Spirit. That's why he got a Braille book. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask them. I'm gonna find some Christians and ask them, what do they think about the Book of Eli? What are the messages that the Book of Eli is telling them, other than don't eat humans? That God's word will prevail. You got a blind man that God uses the least among us, and it empowers. They destroyed every religious book after the nuclear war. Denzel had the last copy. Oh, you know what? I do. You are absolutely right. Now I do remember the first part of that, where they said they destroyed all the religious books. After, I do remember something like that. You're absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep, I do recall that. But it's an apocalypse of the heart, and the truth is that's the truth is that's the real apocalypse. All right, I'm with you. Okay, apocalypse of the heart. And they try to destroy all scriptures to find some truth. It would be the way. It's like we said the other day. If you had 10 people and you gave them this book and they've never read any holy book, period, would they go towards them? Actually, would they go to the Bible? And a good thing, a good test would be to have, if you could find, like, if you can go to the Sentinel Island, all right, those people have never heard of any of these religions. And if you gave them all the religions, all the religious books, I wonder which book they would gravitate more towards. I mean, there would be a little bit of bias of however their culture is. But if you could truly just have some people who, are not stained by the general society. They didn't grow up seeing a bunch of churches or a bunch of mosques. hearing people make all their little comments and whatnot. And they're all about 30 years old. And they read and critically thought through each one of the religious books, what they would think of all of them. Since the Kabbalion is not considered a religious book, it wouldn't be part of that grouping. So I would wager, I would put money on the Tao being the one that is most acceptable. Oh yeah, they went to try to convert those people, and they all got killed. Some people you ain't, unless you coming in like colonizer and taking the land with guns, you ain't. People ain't going for that bullshit. Inky return. As long as it's not Enlil, we good. Even though I still gonna give Inky a little bit of side eye. Still gonna go to Inky. Still, he gonna get a little side eye. He still got a little superiority complex. What did he call the people of Kemet when he came across the Sahara to the land of Kim? He called them the hairy barbarians. I'm still give him a little bit of side eye. He still had the intent of creating a slave race. So you still get a little side eye. But I'm gonna have to end a little bit early today because we started real late. Before I do that, I gotta ask you guys a question. So I'm contemplating, I'm gonna do it. So I'm going to right now, I do all the shows starting around 10:30. And that's the Leo ego, around 10:30, because it initially started that way because that was the only time that I actually had to do it, because I was in the cigar lounge. But I've maintained that. I'm contemplating switching 2 of the days and doing them, say, around 7 or 8 o'clock at night to start. What do you guys think about that? If 2 of the days I do them at 7, 8 o'clock at night, it ain't gonna be. I can't do all of them at 7 o'clock at night because I can't be cutting into my Angelina time. But if I did 2 days at night, 7, 8 o'clock, what do you guys think? I'm gonna give a little pause while y'all are, because I know some of y'all are at work and you're trying to work at the same time, lunchtime and all that stuff. And I do notice that the live, a lot more people watch the lives in the evenings. They rebroadcast of it. Gonna put Enlil in jail. That'd be great. Yeah, I do realize that it'll be a different group of people. I know my people in like South Africa and England, I know that they won't be able to do they'll have to watch a rebroadcast. Oddly enough, the majority of the audience who watches these videos are in Texas, Georgia, Florida, New York. Those are like some of the more dominant locales. Yeah, Apocalypto is good too. I like Apocalypto, even though it got some pretty good historical inaccuracies, but it's still good. Is it Nima? I thought it was Ninharsag created with Inky. I thought it was Ninharsag, not Nima. Let me check. Where reminds me? Oh, this ain't gonna really tell me. Um, this ain't gonna tell me that. Right, and then Harsag, that was his wife, right? I thought he created with his wife. It was the four that was down there was Anu, Inky, Enlil, and then Harsag, I thought. But it could have been them. It could just be two different names based on two different people. You know, the different people, like the Babylonian name versus the Akkadian name. I'm notified of your live no matter time. Yeah, I'll do 2 days in the evening. Two ain't bad anymore. You cut my wife time. Right. I'm gonna do a test for about a month, and I'm gonna see how it goes. If it's like, because I do want to reach more people. So I'm thinking like Tuesdays and Thursday, or Monday and Wednesday. Probably Tuesday and Thursday. I really don't care about Thursday night football or Monday night football unless my Falcons are playing, and then that season will be over soon anyway. So yep, one guy wanted to manipulate people. But isn't that the way it is though? The book is used to manipulate. Oh hell no, Kevin. We about to kick Kevin off the live for permanent. We're gonna block Kevin. Permanent block on Kevin. Coming over that cowboy shit. Permanent block on Kevin. Kevin can't be part of the group. Nope. But I know it's an hour shorter than normal, but my day got cut. And I gotta be out this door by like 4:30. I gotta run, but I need to make some other videos and a few other things I need to do. So I appreciate you guys. You guys have been great as usual. Continue to share and like the lives, share it with everybody. I know I say that every time, but it's like a pastor asking for that plate. You got to keep saying it over and over again to get people to do it. So continue to share all the videos and continue to subscribe and like it. I appreciate all of you guys. Richard Brown, he wrote it. Okay. So we're gonna let that be that. And y'all have a great day. And remember, always you gotta free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. And I will see you guys tomorrow at our normal time around 10:30, 11. So the Green Mile, I love that movie too. Y'all have a good one. And we out.